Hi everyone, welcome back to Trees and Turtles. My name is Imogen. In today's video, I am teaching you about vulnerability and how to be vulnerable in your friendships and relationships for better connections and better quality of connections, okay? So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to do that for more lovely content like this. Give this video a huge thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. So, vulnerability. It's a difficult topic because nobody likes to be vulnerable. In fact, there are entire industries devoted to reducing vulnerabilities across various sections of the world, okay? So why am I telling you to be vulnerable? Why am I telling you to be vulnerable? Because it's really important in your friendships, in your relationships, just for your social life in general, whether that be in a platonic or romantic setting, okay? Whatever kind of human relationship you have, if it's a sort of, and I'm not talking about like trauma dumping on your boss at work, clearly that's not appropriate, but I meant like in your sort of social relationships, it's really important to have a degree of personal vulnerability in order to deepen that connection and to deepen the bond that you have with the other person. It's important for them to be vulnerable with you as well. So in this video, I'm teaching you how to be vulnerable because it did not come easily to me. Like, I am by nature quite a sort of like reserved, well, okay, I can be an oversharer, but also I can be very kind of closed off and not very good at articulating my feelings always. So I'm getting better at it, and this is what I've learned so far. Number one, start small, okay? If you can say one small vulnerable thing, you can work up to deeper conversations. And at some point, if you want to progress with an acquaintance to an actual deeper friendship, and this has happened with pretty much every single one of my close friends, and I could almost point to probably the conversation where it happened with each of them. You have to dive deeper than, oh, you know, how's your day? The weather's nice today. That you have to dive deeper than small talk, okay? You have to be able to talk about what's bothering you, what your goals are, your dreams are, what are your aspirations in life, what makes you tick, okay? What makes you want to get up in the morning, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, okay? So all of these things are really important to be able to give the other person context and to help them really get to know you as a person. So you can start really small. You can just gradually work up to it. You don't have to like go all in on like your deepest, darkest fears straight away. But if you're able to start with something super small, and this could be as trivial, well, it's not trivial, but like as trivial as a food preference. You could be like, oh, you know, I don't like whatever. I was going to say I don't like pizza, then I was like, who doesn't like pizza? Okay, I'm sure there's someone out there who doesn't like pizza. And that would be a vulnerable thing to share because that is an unpopular opinion, okay? So if you don't like pizza, that is a small thing that I guess you could be vulnerable and share. But you can like work yourself up to it, okay? You don't have to like be like, here's all my childhood trauma straight away. Although I've definitely done that on a few occasions. I apologize to anyone I've done that to. But you can start small. All right, number two. Learn to recognise the difference between a friend and an acquaintance. So I talked about how you can progress from an acquaintanceship to a friendship, but what's the difference? So a friend will gradually share more vulnerable things with you and show a deeper interest in your life. So they'll want to know how your day's going. They'll remember important dates about you, like your birthday and stuff. They will remember, like, you know, you might be going to see your family and then they'll ask you about it, and like, you know, they'll ask you about important stuff that's going on in your life because they will remember that about you. They'll know that about you, okay? And they will show a deeper interest in getting to know those things. But an acquaintance will keep conversations to the surface level, and an acquaintance will sort of like push away your efforts to try and connect with them on a deeper level. So if someone like just changes the topic every time you like try to go into a deeper conversation, then that is a sign that they are just willing to connect with you as an acquaintance but not really as a friend. If someone is willing to have like more sort of exploratory, deeper, more like vulnerable conversations with you, that is someone who is interested in a friendship, okay? Number three, lean on your friends. How do I mean? Not physically. Well, I mean, maybe physically if you've broken your ankle or something, but I mean more emotionally. So peer support is super important from a mental health perspective. And if you can be honest with your friends about when you're experiencing a mental health sort of crisis or like even a dip in your mood, then that is actually, it's good. It's a sign of vulnerability. So, you know, you might have a conversation with an acquaintance and they ask you how you are, and actually you've had a crap day, like you got splashed with like mud on your way to work, and you got home and there was like a pipe leaking in your house, and your like I don't know, your partner just broke up with you, okay? So you've had a shit day. Oh, and your cat died, let's throw that in there. So you've had like a shit day, and you talk to an acquaintance and your acquaintance is like, oh, how's your day? And you know that they're expecting to hear fine, so they can just move on and be like, okay, so I've got this thing that we need to do, and so you're like, oh, I'm fine. But if an actual friend called you, like your best friend called you, and you picked up and they were like, how is your day? You'll be like, oh, you know, I got covered in mud and my cat died and my partner broke up with me, and you know, all of this stuff is happening, okay? So if you are able to lean on your friends, and I'm sure your best friend will be like, you know what, let's meet for a coffee and tell me about it, okay? So if you're able to like lean on your friends and have that kind of emotional vulnerability with them when you're in like not such a good place, then it's a really good sign that you're kind of developing that deeper connection. And obviously it is not just like a negative thing. Like if you're excited to tell them, like when you achieve something big or when you have good news, who's the first person that you run to? Who's the first person that you call? Who's the first person that you text being like, guess what? You know, that person is a friend to you, okay? You wouldn't text an acquaintance with that stuff. You might post it on your story for them to watch because they're like one out of several hundred people who watch your story, but like you wouldn't like text them, okay? So if you're able to lean on your friends in the bad times and in the good times, in the little ways and in the not so little ways, then it's really going to help your mental health and it's going to help you be vulnerable. So when important stuff happens in your life, who do you share it with? And if you want to share it with more people and if you want them to be your friends, then you need to start sharing those important things about your life and asking them about the important things in theirs. All right, the next thing, I have 3 more topics for you. Be honest about what's bothering you, okay? This applies to your life in general and your friendship with them in particular. I want to know what's going on in my friends' lives so I can support them, and if like I've upset them by accident, because I can be emotionally very clumsy and I'm a bit stupid, so sometimes that happens and I always hate it when it happens, but I also want to know so like I can apologize and fix things, okay? Honesty is a form of vulnerability and it takes practice, but it can really bring you closer. So be honest about what's bothering you always, if you can. Like, practicing this, it's difficult, but it's so worthwhile. All right, I also want you to keep notes of what's important about your friends. I have like documents. This is gonna sound a bit weird, but I have like documents about some of my close friends because I am forgetful, and you know, I want to know like if they've mentioned to me once that they really like this restaurant, that I want to remember that I can take them to it like when we meet up or whatever, like important things I need to remember, like their birthdays, things they like and dislike. I've got like things that I really love and appreciate about them, happy memories from our friendship, and like gift ideas or outing ideas that I have for us to do together, okay? This is like an easy way for me to be more thoughtful in my close friendships because I feel like over time we kind of accumulate this like knowledge base about our friends, and it's so easy to forget the little details, but if you remember the little details, it can really help them feel loved. So I kind of had to write that down because I am kind of forgetful, but it is a really easy way to like deepen that like knowledge of a person in a way that is able to help them feel cared for and help them feel understood and loved. And finally, you need to talk about difficult things, okay? A real friend is someone who will be there for you on your worst days as well as celebrating you on your best, okay? Every single one of my close friends knows pretty much like plenty about the darker things in my life, and I know plenty about theirs, okay? So we've created like this safe, like mutual safe space for us to share those things, which is really super valuable, and having those conversations is tricky at first and it is difficult, okay? But finding that common ground is really valuable and it strengthens your connection. All right, that's how to actually be vulnerable in your friendships and relationships for better connections. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to do that. Give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next time, okay?